Melissa, do you consciously decide on the style that you have adopted, or did it just flow? The poetic style that you adopted, the metaphorical style that you use.
It sort of just happened, but I learned. I watched a lot of poets and how they would perform, and I watched a lot of artists in theatre and stuff. And one thing that Malaysian artists like to do is they like to imitate or copy a Western version of performance because they think that is the best way to do it. And then I felt that, there is this lack of a Malaysian voice. There is lack of a Malaysian metaphor. If I am trying to tell you that there are loopholes in your logic, I don't have to give you something about stars and moons. I'm going to tell you it's the bloody Vade. It's very simple. It's easy to connect to the audience, and that's all I wanted to do. So, when I'm writing my poems, I think of it as talking to a person. Of all ages, whether it's a child or whether it's an adult, how can I explain to you what I'm trying to say in the best way possible? I don't need to show you that my vocabulary is extensive. I don't need to show you that I have all this bank of metaphors and cool stuff. I just need to connect with you, and ultimately that's the style that I chose to write in.
So it's a personal conversation.
Yes, it's an interaction with one person to another. I have been criticized for being very Malaysian. Your work can't really go overseas because you write very local and stuff. I don't think so, because I think it's a flavor, it's a style that needs to come across, and I honestly think that this is the best way I can connect with you, because the poems that I write are focused, like I said, as a vehicle. They're trying to tell you a story that you need to listen or need to know, or we need to talk about this. And that's what the style that I've gone for does.
Right. Thank you. Marco, what about you? You use very strong language.
And I want to stop you here, because if you say strong language, it means like that I just use cuss words, which is not the case.
My question is, first and foremost, your work, you're targeting the Malaysian audience specifically.
No, I'm targeting anybody.
Anyone.
Yeah.
But of course, at the same time, like you said earlier, you would like to highlight stories that even Malaysians are not aware of.
Yeah.
Of course, because of that, hopefully more Malaysians will be able to read those. Did you, when you write, did you consciously adopt that style, or did you think about whether your approach would actually appeal to the general mainstream audience in Malaysia?
Well, I think that the best way to impress is to attack in general. So you need to leave a sense of power, in some ways. And words are very carefully chosen, because maybe I write first and I have a flow that is quite satisfactory, but then I like to make sure that in every line there is no repetition, so I always try to change the similar words with different things, and then I play around stuff. But generally, yes, I want to keep things active, so that's why I usually try to start in the middle of an action, and just many books on writing tells you you have to hook the reader in. That's true. It's like when you read a newspaper article, it's a story. So, this happens, so you want to read. So yeah, definitely I try to hook people in. Then the strong language comes from the strong visuals and culture that I've been exposed to, because consider that I grew up with 80s Italian horror films. They are some of the most violent ever shot in the world. And horror and more horror and more horror, punk, heavy metal. So yeah, it's everything in your face. And I don't think there are many writers that come from this kind of scene. And they are, but they're very smallish in a way. They're just subculture writers. So I just try to apply the same train wreck of subculture expression to the literature. This is why my tagline, my MPH approved promotional tool is that I want to keep the danger, put the danger back into literature, because, the books of the past, the nice books, the Harry Miller and Kerouac and stuff, they were shocking books. So I want my books to be remembered by people and say, wow, this book is bold.
Right, thank you. Now back to Hanim. Being the editor of sentAp, right? You look at your team of writers, and they have got different styles, right? What kind of style do you generally go for? Do you go for styles which writers who focus on issues that would be deemed as controversial and perhaps even underground? Would you actually publish this kind of work?
Yes, actually, I personally like to delve into writings that promote alternative,
culture and thought.
Yeah, something like that. For instance, in our latest sentAp, we have this Professor Niranjan Raja, who is actually a Malaysian artist, but now based in Canada. A lot of issues related to Indian diaspora, you can read in the book, is being highlighted. He talks about the Keling Babi issue, the YouTube. He talks about the influence of Rajinikanth, the hero, Tamil movie, but it's being done in a very artistically, style.
So do you agree with writers using strong language like Marco? Strong language sometimes like fast?
If it needs to be used, I don't mind. Yeah, if it needs to be used.
Right.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to actually emphasize on certain things, and if you like sopan santun all the time, it just doesn't work.
Right.
And I personally think that over the years I have found myself to be more interested in art that is more diverse and multidiscipline, not just visual art. And I think that was because of my exposure the past 10 years, 10 years ago while working at Yayasan Kesenian Perak, the Perak Arts Foundation, whereby I was widely exposed and influenced by, not just the art, but also various genres of arts. I was involved with filmmakers, poets, dancers, and so forth, not just artists. And I think that is where, I have a different kind of, how do you say it, strategy, or how I tend my other things, I incorporated that experiences. And also because I am also interested in artists, not just becoming artists, to just become a normal artist, but have something beyond that.
It's a social statement?
Social statement, artists who work with community-based projects. I think it's very important. It's not just about money, it's just not about putting your stuff in a white cube in a gallery and make it a commodity. But also, I feel that we need to highlight projects or programs that, are more empowering in a sense, that can create some kind of awareness, and, instead of just being an arty-farty thing. Yes, I think that's my,
Right, just one more question, one last question before we wrap up this session and open it up to the floor, and that's for Hanim. So the things that you do, and and like what you said, you would actually like to broaden up, your magazine to accept commentaries and also to curate art pieces that have social statements that talk about social issues, and you have no qualms about artists, writers who would use strong language. Does that go in conflict with your personal values and beliefs?
Another difficult question to answer. I mean, it's very subjective. Why are you giving me that question? Is it because how I look or how?
Basically, yes. Probably, you come across as more conservative. So, as a more conservative person, do you do what you do?
Okay.
Does it go in conflict with your own values?
Yeah, that's why, because, this stereotyping, that's the main issue here. Maybe I should share a little bit more about my background. Yeah, I graduated as fine artist, and for a couple of years I was a full-time artist, selling my works to the galleries. Became very rich for a little while before I decided to stop, because I felt that I needed to do just do something else instead of just like a kilang, like a factory, doing paintings. And it was the right timing at that moment, because I was invited to become the curator at the Perak Arts Foundation. So there I was exposed to this multi-diverse arts background, and I experienced a multifaceted task, multifaceted curator in a sense. And at that time, I was also, it's a very, very long story actually. And because of the 98 issue and the Anwar saga, and somehow there was a political intervention, so the organization that I was attached to had to go alternative. So that was a very big moment for me, I think, because I was able to go through this hard moment, because you need to actually try and work very hard to survive. Before this, we were given funds and we were supported, got all the machineries in Ipoh. Yeah?
So you ended up on the other end of the fence, on the other side of the
Not
fence.
really on the end, but I think because at that time, even in the art sphere, regionally, it was the mushrooming of alternative art spaces. So we have like Rumah Air Panas in KL, and then like what we have now, the Lost Generation Space in KL. So it was more exciting for me, because I think I had the chance to actually determine what I want to do without being dictated by the rest. But I think I didn't answer your question about that.
No, well, just to wrap this up, in short, would you be comfortable with work that deals directly with sex and religion?
Yeah, depends on the context. What's the intention for? If it's necessary, we should talk about it. No problem. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That marks the end of our second session. And now I would like to open it up to the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please do ask our four writers.